Now, the central contracts that BCCI, Board of Control for Cricket in India, hand out annually to top cricketers in the country is out, and it's made all the right noises. The biggest story coming out of that was the most distinct one, pertinent message that BCCI was sending to the rest of the players. Cricket in the country, and by that, national duty and domestic structure cannot be ignored. It's of paramount importance. When any cricketer isn't featuring in the Indian senior squad and isn't injured or taking a break that has been agreed upon, he or she will play in the domestic circuit. They could have just left the names of Shreyas Iyer and Ishan Kishan out of the contract announcement release, but no, they specifically mentioned these two players to state that they were not even considered this year. Was it harsh, or did they probably already give these cricketers a long enough rope that was just getting a bit too much at the end of the day? Reports say the players were not heeding to what the board wanted them to do. But coming back to the list, it's got everyone interested. There have been a few who have been rewarded, and there have been a few omissions and some sidelined. Some have been demoted as well. I'll break this down for you. First of all, there are 4 grades in the contract setup. Grade A+, that's elite. These cricketers are the cream of the lot, and just the indication of them being in this list means they are the top performing athletes, ones who will be always primarily focused on. There have been no changes in this from last year. Let's get this out of the way. Then there are just 4 athletes in this one: Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah and Ravindra Jadeja. No surprises there. All 4 have a 7 crore contract each. This one, of course, is above the match fees. Then comes Grade A. Grade A has 6 athletes, and this is the next bracket. Then there are a few changes here. The regulars from last year are Ashwin, Mohammad Shami and Hardik Pandya. The additions here are Mohammad Siraj, who's had a good year, KL Rahul, who made a good comeback and hopefully shall redeem himself after the injury break, and most important inclusion, and someone who will be eyeing that A+ category soon, is Shubman Gill. The highlight in this grade has been his presence. He held a lot of promise last year. The poster boy of Indian cricket suddenly experienced a bit of a rough patch in the last few months, but just his diligence and perseverance, getting in there in the last test, ought to have impressed everyone. And let's face it, with the talent that he has, he's here to stay. The exclusions from the list have been that of Akshar Patel and Rishabh Pant. Let's move to Grade B. This year has 5 athletes in this category, each earning 3 crores each. The biggest exclusions here, Shreyas Iyer and Cheteshwar Pujara. We have, of course, delved into the Shreyas Iyer saga quite a bit, but what about Pujara? Let's face it, it looks like the board is particularly seeing his way when he comes to the longer format, but they aren't looking towards him. Pujara was keen on renewing his career. His recent exploits in the domestic circuit have been good, but the management doesn't seem to believe so. The biggest inclusion, and a player who has been clearly rewarded for his talents and skill and potential, is someone who has truly worked on his game, his big match temperament and his attitude. Yashasvi Jaiswal, the biggest break for this lad and the biggest news coming out of this contract announcement. Rishabh Akshar dropped down to the next one, of course, alongside Kuldeep, who has been promoted, rightfully so. Another example of sheer fighting spirit and turning things around, Surya Kumar Yadav also in that list. Moving to Grade C, this is crowded with every player getting a crore of each Indian rupees. These are, of course, there are 15 cricketers in here, and some promising talents in there like Sanju Samson, Rinku Singh, Avesh Khan, Tilak Verma, Arshdeep Singh, Washington Sundar. The biggest exclusion from this one, Ishan Kishan, of course, like we've been talking about, Umesh Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal. That means the board is not looking towards them until, of course, some of them do, or at least one of them do something exceptional. The result says it all then. If you perform consistently and do your bit diligently, you will be rewarded. It's also an indication by the board of who they think are in the scheme of things this year and for whom it may be the end of the road. For some former cricketers, though, have questioned a few of these decisions.
They are talented cricketers, both Shreyas and Ishan, hoping they bounce back and come back stronger. If players like Hardik don't want to play red ball cricket, shouldn't he and others like him participate in white ball domestic cricket when they are not on national duty? If this doesn't apply to all, then Indian cricket won't achieve the desired results.
Former Indian cricketer Irfan Pathan is questioning the persistence and patience that he feels the board seems to be showing Hardik Pandya in particular. Speaking of whom, he has resumed cricket, is playing a T20 tournament in the Indian city of Mumbai. To get his rhythm ahead of, yes, you guessed it, the Indian Premier League. The one thing that stands out though is the fact that the bowlers, the fast bowlers contract, it's something new and does bode well for the future of Indian cricket. It's an art that is most rigorous. Fast bowling can take a toll on the body and goes to show that the BCCI here is keen to invest on young cricketers, young fast bowlers like Umran Malik, Akash Deep and Yash Dayal to stay on track, help them stay on track and of course help them keep improving. Reports have also now emerged of key meetings among the top brass to make some radical changes. The main agenda, increase match fees for Test cricket. That's a massive discussion and a step towards really shining the spotlight on Test cricket sharply, especially in the moments where the fast-paced T20 world is taking over and taking charge. The fact that these meetings are happening, these thoughts are floating around is a great sign. It shows that the most powerful board in the world is putting its clout behind what needs oxygen support, Test cricket. Despite the fact that T20 is the money spinner, it is the golden goose, but BCCI seems to be displaying great foresight not to kill the OG, because there's a place for every product of the sport. Reports say there are talks of giving special bonuses to players who do not miss a single test in a calendar year. That ought to be great incentive as well to the players. And this is where talents first emerged, and this is the format that fuels passion. And by doing what they can to keep that fire burning, BCCI is showing the rest what the way forward should be.